Hey, it's Dr. Aldewan Tartt. You may be feeling it. The research shows that 23% of Americans are feeling it almost every day. 44% are feeling it sometimes. We're talking about burnout. Are you burned out? Are you burned out? Now, a lot of times when we think about burnout, we think about just being tired. We think about just being fatigued. Our energy level is not there, but there's an actual psychological definition that I want you to hear and assess yourself to see if you just might be burned out. And I'm going to tell you what to do about it. All right. Number one, are you indeed tired? Do you find yourself going to the job and each week you go, it is getting harder and harder for you to muster the energy to get through the day? Are you having to do more and more just to get to work? Do you find yourself thinking about Friday and it's Tuesday at 10 a.m.? All right. That's the one sign. You need all three. That's one sign of burnout. Number two, have you developed what's called cynicism? Cynicism was when you start having a bitter mindset about going to work. Like you looking at work, you looking at the people at work, you don't like where you work. And this not only applies to work, you can get burned out in your relationships, you can burned out raising kids, you can get burned out in church, you can be wherever. But when you go, you're like, man, I don't like this place. Right? I don't think this place is going to do right. I don't think this corporate culture is ever going to change. I don't think that my husband or wife are going to listen. I think these kids are stuck in their ways. So you start developing cynicism and you find yourself becoming more and more negative the more you have to go into that environment or that home environment. And then number three, and this is the big sign, you start seeing some moral slippage, some ethics violations. So yeah, I don't know if you heard about it, a couple of weeks ago, Wells Fargo fired a bunch of people for having this program on their keyboard that simulated mouse movements and keystrokes, right? And they found out it was a computer versus the people. I had compassion. I said, well, maybe they were burned out. Maybe Wells Fargo was working the bejesus out of them, right? And they just want to have a lunch break or they want to have something to do versus having to be in front of their computer for 20 hours. I don't know, but that's what it looks like. So it could be you have a wandering eye because you're stressed, you're drinking more, you're smoking more, you haven't drank and now you're starting to drink, you're using drugs, you are just don't you don't do the paperwork like you're supposed to. You cut corners, you talk to people in a rough way because you don't have time to be political. You don't want to put icing on the cake. You just want to give it to them just straight up, no chaser. You just want to like bam, right? You're finding yourself losing yourself and you're finding these negative evaluation of yourself. This is your own. You be like, look, I see myself experiencing these things. If that's you, hopefully you are awakened. I want to tell you what you need to do about it very quickly. One, you're gonna have to do self-care. And a lot of people use self-care casually. Like, okay, let me self-care, but you need to use it in a way that we use as psychologists, right? So self care is restoring yourself to the level of burnout, restoring yourself to the level of burnout. So, like, if you're at a 3 out of 10 happiness, you need to do 7 things to get you to a 10. Some of you are trying to take a day off, you need to take weeks off, right? Some of you need a sabbatical from your job, some of you need to go to counseling. Some of you need a break from your spouse. Some of you need a week. You need a vacation with no kids, right? You need a vacation with no kids. I saw this thing on Instagram. You know how they have it where you do this before and after, and then they jump into the screen. And so the mom jump in the screen, the dad jump in the screen, and then the kids try to jump in the screen. And the dad came from the beach and put his foot up to the camera and like kicked the kids back, and they fell down. Right? That's what I'm talking about. You need a retreat just maybe even for yourself, and definitely for the one that you love, so that you could be restored. So you have to self care. And what we know is that if it's not scheduled, your self-care is probably not going to happen. My friends, is your massage scheduled? Is your time to work on your business plan scheduled? Is your time to get your nails done, your haircut, workout, going to the gym, yoga, join that Bible study? Whatever it is your self-care is, meditation, is it planned? Have you booked that beach? Have you booked that cabin? Have you booked that road trip? Have you booked it? Is it booked? It's not even booked into the future. How can you be burned out now and have nothing to look forward to? I want you to pause this video right now and start immediately. Immediately. Immediately, my friends. I want you to book some self-care in your schedule. And number two, you're gonna have to have a better life. You can't just restore, get burned out, restore, get burned out. You're going to actually have a better life. You're going to have to create a better life that does not burn you out. I mean, I personally, like y'all have called me to be one to many. Like everyone wants to see me. And I'm not saying, I don't mean like everyone, but like a lot of people want to see me. And it's because only 1% of psychologists are licensed African American psychologists. And I'm a minister. So you're talking about being a faith-based psychologist. That puts me in point some percent, right? And so I get it. And so now I'm having to figure out, well, I can't sit up here and see clients all day, every night, and have balance and have health and have my marriage flourish and spend time with all three of my kids and spend time with my parents and my brother and my friends and watch the Hawks and the Falcons. Come on now, can church say amen? Right? And the Lakers got to throw that in there, right? So I need balance. So I'm having to figure out, okay, I can't keep doing this. I have to create. And I'm going to tell y'all something big about a community I want y'all to join. I'll tell you about that, in a whole nother email. That's going to be amazing where you can come and be built up. So it's going to allow me to be one to many. It's going to be one to many, right? And so I can actually impact more people in less time and have way more influence, right? I need you to think the same way. How can you get your time? How can you have multiple currencies? Time, peace of mind, health, wealth. How can you have freedom? How can you have all those currencies, the fivefold currencies, right? And so that you can have a life well lived, especially if you're going into the second phase, the final phase of working. You need to be working for less hustle. You need to be getting paid for your experience and your wisdom and your maturity, not for your muscle, not for your grind, not for your hustle. That's going to go away. Y'all get it? All right. So the way you change, and some of y'all have to set some boundaries. It's gonna have to be your time, not anyone else's time. You set it first. No, I can't do it at 11 o'clock. That's my spa time. Oh, I can't do it too. That's my yoga time. You know what? I don't work on Saturdays. That's my anime time. That's my time I go to the spa. That's my time I watch sports. That's my time I dedicate to my husband, cook him a bunch of meals. Not playing. That's the time I take my wife out and pay attention to the fine young lady I decided to date, right? We have to take care of those we're with. Or even single, I need to actually go on a date, actually put myself in a place where men I actually like would flirt with me, or women I actually value would actually approach or respond to me, right? I couldn't say approach. Actually, it depends on the brother, right? We're not going to get into that. That's a whole nother video. So I love y'all. Let me know. Are you burned out? And what are you going to do about it? And the final word, because I'm a minister. There were times in the Bible where we see Jesus honoring the Sabbath, honoring the Sabbath on a regular basis. We also see times where Jesus is sleeping. We see times where Jesus, Mary and Martha are arguing, and Jesus is like, yo, chill. She's actually taking care of my physical body. Rub this oil all in my hair because what I'm getting ready to have to do is a lot. If you remember, there was a sinful woman when Jesus was talking to the Pharisees, and she was crying and her tears wet her hair so much that she used her hair to massage Jesus's feet. And the Pharisee said, look, if you were really the son of God, if you're really who you said you were, you would know that's a sinful woman touching your feet. I didn't think that was allowed. And Jesus looked him dead in the eye and said, you know what? I came in, you didn't even give me anything to drink. You didn't even ask me how I was doing. You were not hospitable. And here she is crying, asking for forgiveness for her sins. I'm going to forgive her. And she's actually doing what she should do, which is comforting me versus you sitting there judging me. These God, look it up in the Bible. This is Jesus. So if Jesus is telling you to self-care, if Jesus is getting a massage, what do you think we should do to avoid burnout? All right, I love you guys. Take care. God bless.